Welcome to Outside of the Classroom. Education is important, but not that bullshit, abstract, and theoretical education. You want useful, relevant, and actionable lessons that will help you succeed in life. So that's what we do. It's your boy Pham, your host, and now let's hack your education together. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Pham, and our guest today is Albert Qian. And what I love about Albert is that he's built such an active and large Facebook group that connects people with jobs. And now today, we dive deep into his journey and how he'll show us step by step how he grew his group to over 7,000 members and why you should also consider creating your own community. But let me give you a hint. All 7,000 people like, trust, and respect Albert, which makes him a networking king. And speaking of networking, I want to announce that I am launching a new book called Networking Success for Young Professionals. This new book is short, funny, and will give you all the tips and strategies I've used to build such a strong network. And no, it does not require being extroverted or shoving business cards down people's throats. So if you want to be notified, enter your email address at www.outsideoftheclassroom.com/networking for your free copy once it comes out. So without further ado, let's dive into the show.
What is going on, everybody? We have a very special guest with us today, and his name is Albert Qian. He is the founders of Albert's List, connecting thousands of job seekers to opportunities. And he's a huge believer in connecting people together. And I'm so pleased to be talking with him right now. So, Albert, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm really honored to be here.
Well, I'm so excited. Albert, do you want to tell the listeners how we met?
Yeah, I think we met through Facebook. I think you were hanging out in Albert's List, and you had a 10,000 word guide on how to land the internship of your dreams. And I remember you telling me that you had reached out to some people, but nobody had responded. And I realized a few weeks later that I hadn't responded either. And so I was like, hey, post that to my group. And then we started having a conversation. And I have discovered much about you that I really, really, really admire and really like.
And same with you, Albert. I'm really excited. So just for the listeners who don't know what Albert's List is, can you just briefly describe what it is?
Yeah, so Albert's List right now exists as a Facebook group on Facebook called Albert's Job Listings and Referrals. And so we are a Facebook community of helpers, givers, job seekers, and more, where everybody on a daily basis helps each other with job advice. We post job listings from all sorts of companies. We're talking about companies like Facebook, LinkedIn, Apple, HP, a lot of them in the Bay Area, as well as Southern California. And we also share networking events on a week-to-week basis too.
Yeah, I really love what you're doing. How many members do you have right now?
We have 7,150 members.
Woo, 7,000. And when did you start the group?
We started this group in March of 2013.
Wow. So 2 years, 7,000 people, and it's so supportive and so thriving. And before you go into explaining why you started the group, I would love to just take the listeners on your journey, starting from college. So where did you go for college?
So I went to Santa Clara University.
Santa Clara.
In the San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh, yeah. And did you like college? That means no. If you hear that sigh, it's like, no.
It's had its place in my life.
Yeah.
I would say I enjoyed college. I think it was very practical. I think I was able to learn a lot because I majored in business. I think that it served its purpose for helping me get to where I am. So I can't exactly discredit college for, where it is in my life in terms of thinking about how it's impacted me.
Yeah. So you majored in business. Is there any particular type of business, like administration, marketing, finance, or just regular business?
So I was a management information systems major. So my business degree had a very high level of technology integrated in with business.
Cool. Okay. So you graduate college, and then what's next?
And then, I graduated in 2010 when the economy was really rough. So it was do my best to find any job that would take me. Yeah.
So what did you end up doing? Did you get a job, or did you do part-time work? What was happening?
So my very first job was actually a job where I worked from home as a Salesforce developer. It was way over my head. Learned a lot in the 8 to 10 months that I was there, and yeah, I was working from home, and every day talking to my boss was something I did through Skype.
Interesting. So it seems like you majored in business, like MIS, and then you did a Salesforce developer role.
Hmm.
How did you transition into, helping people connecting people with jobs? That seems kind of a different tangent from what it seems like.
Yeah, so I would say that how I've started from how Albert's List came about is sort of more of a 5 year journey, if you will. And so I remember, so I graduated college about a quarter early because, I was thinking about an anthropology minor, but I decided that I didn't want to get up to go to class at 8 a.m. on Tuesday, Thursdays, where classes were 2 hours long in the middle of spring quarter. So I
Mhm.
was like, all right, screw this. I am going to go find a job. And I remember, finding a job was a pretty tedious task. I definitely didn't utilize LinkedIn back then, and I did a lot of Craigslist hunting. I did a lot of Career Builder, Monster.com job hunting,
Mhm.
which is pretty efficient if you really don't know what you're doing. And I remember, my moment where I think, I realized that I was really, really on my own for this was was one day I was, home. It was like a couple weeks after I came home for graduation, and I was hunting for work at the dining table in my parents' house. And I was applying for jobs at IBM where my mother had worked. And I remember, thinking that this was so inefficient, right? You're putting in all these applications and, what are you getting out of it? And like, all that sort of stuff. And so I remember looking up and asking my mother if she knew like people that she could refer me to.
Mhm.
And she said, you know what, we're engineers, because my entire family, we're all engineers. Both my parents are now retired software developers, and my sister's a product design engineer. And my mom says, well, you know what? We don't really know anybody. Everybody that we know are engineers as well. And so you are on your own for this journey. And I remember that day pretty clearly now because I remember looking outside. It was really dark, like it was about to rain. And I remember walking back, picking up my laptop and walking back to my room. And it just felt so dark at that moment. And for me, it was kind of one of these like transformational inflection points where it was like, all right, I got to do something about this. Otherwise, it ain't going to be so good.
Mhm.
And so, for even after I started to even after I had a job, I would share job listings that I received from other people. And how that initially began was through email. For the first maybe good year, first actually 2 years, I would be forwarding emails to friends and everything saying, "Hey, know anyone? Here's an opportunity," and that's what I did. And then that translated into I was like, thinking, hey, maybe I could do something on Facebook. So I created daily Facebook status updates actually for events, people that people should know, job listings, and things like that.
Wait, and these are all the stuff you individually research yourself. Is that correct?
Yeah, so actually, a lot of the job listings that I have come from a lot of the job sites that I scour, in addition to people who now know that there are a bunch of opportunities that usually come my way. But
Got it.
every day I, kind of tediously put up all these status updates that were, events that were upcoming and, like jobs that were hiring. And, people would tag their friends on my Facebook wall. And
Mhm.
then around March of 2013, I was thinking, you know what? This is getting kind of crazy, kind of tedious. Why don't I and so I was thinking, should I create a Facebook page or should I create a Facebook group? And I was thinking, I'm gonna go with a group because I want it to be personal. I want it to be exclusive so that people who, I know can, get jobs and things like that. And so I started Albert's Job Listings and Referrals. And so yeah, that was March of 2013. I think my March 2nd or March 3rd is when I started this group.
No, I love it. And now that it's been 2 years and 7,000 people, and every day I check on it and I see people just posting jobs, people introducing themselves, and people connecting other people to people they should meet. And it's just a great community, which I love how you did a community, not a Facebook page. But So you just started this group, and then 7,000 members. How did that happen? So take us through that first year. How was the growth? How did people respond to it? What was happening?
Well, it was really a really quiet first year. I remember, I think now that I think back on it, I think we had like 22 people our first month, 86 people our second month, and like 9 people our third month. And I didn't really think of starting this as a business back then. For me, it was just like, you know what? Hey, let's help some people. Let's put some jobs out there and let's see what happens. And so for about the first year, we only had about 700 people join. And so if you really think about it, I would say that a good 60 to 70% of our community has joined probably in the last like 8 months.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, that would be, I would say that the explanation of that would be pretty incomplete without the help of my fellow community managers, Michael, Kelsey, Aditi, Dominic, and also many other folks in the community who have spread the word and spread the love. Where we not only now do tweets on a daily basis where we promote the group, we reach out to people who are hunting for work and we invite them to come right on in. And then, in addition to that, we have some like really unofficial partnerships with some with academic groups inside of specific universities. So, for example, Alpha Kappa Psi at Santa Clara University and San Francisco State. We reach out to both of them and encourage them to invite their members and really have them get a taste of what a really really thorough and exciting job search looks like.
Yeah, so you're very proactive in
Yeah.
collaboration. I want to touch upon the spike from 700 to 7,000, but before I do that, I would love to just dive in deeper into how did you even get your first 100 members? So if someone else who's listening to this wants to start their own community,
Yeah.
what would you have done differently to get that first 100 members? You said you mentioned a very slow start. I would love to just hear your thoughts about that.
Yeah, so I started basically by reaching out to friends. Posting this group and saying, "Hey, I have all these job listings in here. Let's put this up and let's see where it goes." And that was just kind of that. And so the reason why I had like 9 members in a month join is pretty much a testament to the fact that I really wasn't trying to grow the community as much as I was trying to like put content in there. And so I would say for the person that's looking to start their own community, I mean, it's like anything you do, starting from friends, always works, right? I know when we talk about growing your email list, it's much the same way. Growing your community is much the same way. And of course, it's around a topic that I think a lot of people have to be able to relate around. And like most people on this planet need to find a job. And so if you're going to create a jobs group, for example, in your region, it's all about not only giving jobs but also resources and encouragement and just discussions around really important topics that are around the job search.
Hmm. I see. So you just started off with friends and family, and it just organically grew. I'm really curious to see. You said you had 700 members in the first year,
Hmm.
and then you said most of your growth came in the last 8 months, which is now 7,000 members.
Yeah.
Walk me through. Well, what is it? Was there a certain spike that happened? Was there a certain giveaway or referral contest you had going on? How did you even have that huge growth in your community?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of several things. I think one is the kindness of people. And so every day I see that people add their friends to the group. And there are some days in the past 8 months where people have added like 30 of their friends to the group. And I'm just like approving each of these people separately. And it feels good because the people are being impacted.
Oh, so you're approving each and every person.
Yeah, so we take a very, very, very curated view of who joins and who doesn't join, right? So if we notice that you just joined Facebook like 5 days ago or less than a month ago, we won't let you in. But the quickest way to getting in is if you have a friend that's already in the group. If you and me have mutual friends, and I have a Facebook community of 2,900 people, so if you have a couple of mutual friends, then you'll definitely get in. And if you're like in the same network or your profile shows that you went to a university that I've heard of, things like that. And so we've grown our community by by really sharing it through letting people share it to their community. I've met people for coffee who said, "Oh yeah, my brother who's been a part of this community for a while just sent me the link one day, and I decided to join, and here I am." So that's one example of how we've grown so big.
Hmm.
Another example, I'd like to give a shout out here to Mark Sackett of the Art of Active Networking in San Francisco. We've been actively promoting our group out over at his networking events, one Monday a month that he holds up at the Box SF in downtown San Francisco. And so, he's a big believer in our community because he wants to help people do better, and he gives us a platform over there where when we talk about our jobs group and there are people who are looking for work at any company in the Bay Area, he points them to come join us as well. And so, it's just getting people on board who really love what's going on and spreading the love. We're here to help people, and we're here to add value to people's lives, and hopefully get them on their feet so that they can make money and contribute back to society.
No, I love it. I love it. So I noticed a few things. So you had a curated view. You approved each and every member.
Hmm.
You had the friends in the group who were so awesome with the people in the group, and they thought they were so kind that they added more and more people because they thought it was so useful. And you also collaborated with other organizations like remind me the name.
The Art of Active Networking,
Yeah, Art of Active
Alpha
Networking.
Kappa Psi, and I should also mention that we get recruiters in this group to hang out as well. So
Mm.
we have over 30 different recruiters who hang out in the group on a day-to-day basis, and these people are in the group. They're sharing their own jobs. They are. And they're also even contributing to the discussions. We now
Wow.
have people who are in the group who ask everything from resume advice to how to interview to talking about people's voicemails. And sometimes these recruiters just jump in and they say, "Hey, this is my experience. This is what you should do." And we even had a discussion back in March where it was concluded in the thread that recruiters and hiring managers don't often read cover letters.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know how much the college career center is pushing cover letters too.
And the recruiters are here are saying, no, we don't even look at
Yeah,
that.
we don't even have time.
So I noticed one thing. You have people from all different backgrounds, from
Mhm.
job seekers to friends to career experts to recruiters, all in this one group.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you did it on purpose, right? Did you like purposely recruit, not recruit recruiters, but invite recruiters in to be part of this community?
I did. I did. So some of these people would send me like job listings, and I would respond by saying, "Hey, I'm a part of this group. Come in and join."
I made this group.
Yeah, I made this group. And there were other situations where we would post some of these job listings without telling them. There was this one case where we posted this guy's job listing. It was like a marketing job in San Francisco, and he got so much response from our group that he emailed me back to follow up and was
Wow.
like, "What is this Albert's job listings and referrals page that I keep getting people from? And can I join this?"
I can recruit more people.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
cool, cool. So
Yeah,
I see collaboration. I see inviting select like certain people.
yeah.
For the person listening to this who maybe even has a group or, has a group of like a couple hundred people, maybe even like 50 people. What else can they do to get to that next step to make it even a bigger and thriving community?
Wow, that's a really good question. I think it depends on the type of community that you're trying to build, but it comes back to serving people, because that's what social media is all about. What I've learned in a career so far in marketing that's included social is that the more that you make other people feel good, and the more that you include other people and let them step up to the occasion, whatever that occasion might be, the more that I think people uh, are willing to go out and get more done for you, even if you're not like asking for it. Like people have come up to me and they're like, "Hey, if you're developing a website that's off Facebook, we'd like to help." There are people who are like, "Oh, if you need extra bloggers for the blog that we're rolling out, I'd love to write for it." Or, I'd love to seek alternative ways of marketing this group, like, say, using Snapchat, for example. And so, I think for the person who has the 200 to 300 member community that wants it, 10 times as big. I would say the best route to take is to activate your membership, is to get your membership involved, make them come back and visit the community in whatever way it is that adds value. So in my community, it's if you've indicated and set the intention that you'd like to find work, we will tag you to death until you message one of us and say, "Hey, I found a job. Thanks." And
Is that what you mean by activating membership?
I think that's
What
one way.
what do you mean by activating membership?
Yeah, so for us in our group, it's of inviting people in the group to tag their friends for jobs that they qualify for. I think it also includes encouraging people to share their LinkedIn profiles, and ultimately, you know what? Get offline, go networking together, have coffee, do that whole thing. And
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay, go ahead. Go on, go on.
and so I've had situations where I've seen some of these folks who have met offline, and they end up networking together. They become friends on Facebook, and it just creates this extended supported network where people who might not have met otherwise, get to know each other, and it just adds more to the community, because when people ask for advice, when people ask for help, it all just comes back in a really great circle.
Hmm. Awesome. So for the young professional who might be listening to this and
Hmm.
thinking, "Oh, okay, I might want to start my own community myself."
Hmm.
Why should they even start their own community? It seems like it has such great success for you. I would love to for you to share some of the benefits or some of the perks that running a community had to help you with your own career and your own success.
Well, I think number one, it helps you continue to network. So I live down here in Orange County. I was born and raised in Silicon Valley, and when I was starting this community, I was based in Silicon Valley, and even though I'm down here in Southern California now, this group affords me the opportunity to just keep in touch with people up there, have conversations, know what's going on. And so, I know that if I ever move back up to the Bay Area, there are a lot of people I can go meet, a lot of people that I can go say hello to,
Hmm.
that I've been able to help at many points in my life. So that's the first benefit. I think the second benefit is personal branding.
Hmm.
So, for every new professional that just graduated, or maybe one that's been out for 1 to 2 years from school now, the importance of being able to personally brand yourself and really show and tell people what you're about and who you are is, I think, extremely critical to your career, because it's not who you know, and it's also not what you know, but it's who knows you. And if you increase your opportunities of being known for whatever it is that you do, whether you're a marketer, an accountant, somebody who works in corporate finance or in startups or whichever, the more you can put your name out there and show people, hey, this is who I am. The more visibility you'll gain, and the more value to them, the more good that'll come back to you as well.
Hmm. I feel like since you have a large group of 7,000 members, like they all know you. And even though they never met you personally, they can probably trust you
Yeah.
and are more likely to help you out, even though they never met you before. Is that true?
Yeah, like they're more than welcome to add me on LinkedIn. They're more than welcome to seek out my connections. I invite them to do so all the time. And if they're looking for, resume editors, I can definitely introduce that way. And we have a lot of recruiters in the group who are also willing to help and do whatever they can to help people with their careers as well. And I would say that yeah, I mean that's I take friend requests from these folks as well.
No, that's fine. If like for example, if you didn't take my friend request, we wouldn't be talking right now, right?
Oh my goodness, yeah, we wouldn't be talking at all, and what a regret that would have been.
Hey, what's up, guys? I want to take a quick pause right now and tell you about my new book, Networking Success for Young Professionals. And I share with you the exact tips and strategies I've used to build my network, which leads me to job opportunities, promotions, new friends, and so much more. And it's sad because I have to often turn down opportunities because I just can't handle it all. And I'm not saying this to brag, I'm telling you this because just a few years ago, I was a nobody. And today, people are offering me help. People want to hire me. People want to meet me for coffee. Now, how did this magic happen? So find out more in the book. And if you want to join the email list, and you get notified for a free copy before I raise the price in the future. So you really have nothing to lose. So enter your email address at www.outsideoftheclassroom.com/networking to get on the email list and get this free book when it comes up. Again, it is www.outsideoftheclassroom.com/networking to get the free book. So now back to the show.
I just love. Okay, so you talk a lot about how you grew it, all the benefits that comes with it, and I'm sure there's many more. But I'm just curious, are you making any money off of this?
I've made some donations, and that's about it. I would say
Got it.
as
So
far
you
as
have a donation page.
I do have a donation page, and it's like very embedded in our group description. It's a
Mhm.
PayPal link that people can go and use. And admittedly, I don't ever really promote it because I know I know that people are probably there to find that opportunity, and I know that people in the group are going to get sold to, and I try to minimize my selling as much as possible.
No, but it's so interesting. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm just an idea out there. I feel like you can just turn this into a business where recruiters would pay you, um, like 10%, 15% of the person who they're hiring salary, for them to recruit because recruiting is pretty hard, especially like in the tech field. So what do you think about that? Have you ever considered that?
Yeah, so that's what Albert's list is in the future. Is what we'd like to do is we would like to sort of be that more agile, technology focused career center that everyone's been wishing for, but not everyone's been able to have in the course of their life. And so Albert's List, which is hopefully going to make its debut here in a couple of months, is going to be a career services marketplace where, to borrow a term from the tech world, I want people to be able to take their job search from months to minutes. And what that looks like is the
Wow.
ability to basically log on to Albert's List and be able to find their career coach, find their resume writer, their recruiters, their networking events, and more, so that they can do what they need to do. Because in the traditional world, right, like you lose your job, you get fired, you get laid off, or whatever happens, and we all trudge home. We walk into our house and we go to our liquor cabinet and we down a bottle of scotch, and then we wake up the next morning and we start over. And I would say that in my world, the world that I want to create here, I want to be able to have you come home, sit down at your chair, and within 45 minutes to an hour, have all your particulars figured out. Your resume is going to get edited. Your cover letter is going to get figured out. Your career coach is going to be there. Your networking events that you can go to maybe that night will be there too. And, all the recruiters that are on our side that we like will be there as well. And so within that 45 minutes to an hour and a half time frame, you'll be sending out emails and you'll be waiting for people to hit you up. And then you can go and have your, shots of whiskey if you feel like.
That's awesome. I love that mission a lot.
Yeah.
I'm curious because I'm in a lot of different Facebook groups,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure you're probably in a lot of different Facebook groups too, and most of
Yeah.
them they have like 10,000 members, and everyone's just spamming and posting
Mhm.
like random stuff. I'm curious, how much do you monitor your group, and how do you make your group so like supportive and authentic and just awesome?
Well, it all comes down to the types of moderating that you're willing to do. And so if you go to our group, you'll see that we have a gigantic pinned post that's in the form of a document that we just authored actually in May. Because we realized that as the community grew, there needed to be that moderation. And the moderation really centered around, I would say, several things. One was categorizing your posts into however you're categorizing it. So, for example, if you have a job, we have you put job in uppercase letters in a big bracket. If you have a service that you'd like to promote, then you put promotion.
Mhm.
If you have like a networking event that's upcoming, then you share that as well. And so we monitor every single post that comes through to the group. Me and my community managers, we talk daily, almost on the hour, and we review every single post that comes through. We make sure that it's relevant. We make sure that it's not spammy. We make sure that all the right notes are hit when somebody posts a job or somebody posts a website.
Wow.
And I would say that running Albert's List has made me a better person because I've learned to ask really, really specific questions.
Wow. So a lot of lessons to be learned by that. So
Yeah.
this is so cool. I want to start my own community now, like some kind of like outside of the classroom.
Choose
Um,
yourself, man. Choose
I
yourself.
I already modded the Choose Yourself community. I want to start my own like my own little baby.
And I think
So
the most important thing here is when you run a community and any community, you have to think about your community members. They come first above anything and everything else. Your title of community manager really begins and stops right at that point because you're really beholden to who participates. And if you're not sticking your neck out on the line, if you're not protecting your members, if you're not giving your members the most open view of jobs that are available, of people offering opportunities, and you're not asking the right questions, then
mhm.
people can leave because there are larger communities than us on Facebook that do serve the Bay Area. I believe there's a group called Bay Area Jobs and Internships,
That's
and they
lame.
have 3 times as many members as we do. But the reason why we are the way we are is because we choose to go people first, and
Yeah.
we choose to hit the notes of helping people, right? So one of the other things that we do is when you join and you read the pinned post, we actually have a back-end Google spreadsheet where we encourage people to fill out their names, what location they'd like to work in, whether it's Northern or Southern California, what their industry is, whether they're okay with being tagged, and what their employment status is. And
Mhm.
every time we have a new job that's posted, me, Kelsey, Michael, or Dominic, we go into this spreadsheet and we look at these names and we try our best to fit
Wow.
whoever's doing what to a specific job role, and
That's
we
awesome.
tag those names. Yeah,
So you really go above and beyond to really serve your members. That's something I haven't ever seen in a Facebook group. So
yeah.
kudos to you, man.
Hmm.
I just to be the devil's advocate,
Sure.
um, j- just just to be the devil's advocate, if I'm a new member
Mm.
and I wanted to post a job, can't I just post a fake job listing and you guys probably wouldn't know about it, like some random startup in SF and fake details and everything? Is there any way to prevent that, or is that just out of your control?
That's kind of out of my control. Although, I've had situations where members have applied for jobs that kind of ended up turning out a little bit scammy,
Yeah.
and they take the effort to message me. And when that happens, for me, that's just an automatic ban. If I don't know you, I'm gonna kick you out of the group.
Hmm.
And even though growing the group is something that I definitely want to do, I also want to keep the community intact, and I don't want to be sending people towards opportunities where they lose even more money, or they get sent to a meeting where an interview where somebody puts a knife to their face or something,
Exactly. Or they sell knives.
or they sell that. Well, I maybe dispute that a little bit because I actually sold Cutco for
Oh, you did?
a couple of months. Yeah, I sold about $1,000 of it. This was my first post high school job.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so for the listener knows now how to
Mm.
start a community, how to grow a community, and at what lengths you'd have to do to monitor a community. Is there anything else that a person who wants to start their own community should know about? You mentioned how your title doesn't really mean anything. It just means that you're always on the clock. Is there anything else that we should know?
You have to be, I think, emotionally and time committed to it, almost kind of in a way where you're like addicted to Facebook. That's why I'm extremely grateful I have my community managers by my side, because when I'm not on Facebook, they're paying attention to what's going on, and thankfully, I don't have to like worry about it so much. And so it's definitely a level of commitment, and it's definitely, I think, an understanding of how it fits into the social media realm as well, right? So much like how you run a brand page or a brand Twitter, you have to be able to understand like your content cadence. You have to be able to measure your engagement, measure your user growth every month, take a look at that kind of thing. And then, it's acknowledging people and sort of being that people individual where you get to share, hey, this is what's what's going on in the group, And you have to be somebody who's transparent. You have to be somebody who's willing to, tell it like it is.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, I can't emphasize the word commitment enough. You have to be committed to your users because you are there to serve them and you are there to deliver value to them in whatever way you define value.
Wow, I'm learning so much about not just community building, but just leadership.
Mhm.
So, Albert, thank you, man. This is really, really cool. I have a few last questions
Sure.
before we end. I like to end with these questions. What book would you recommend to the listener right now who, I guess any book in general that's really helped you in your professional career?
One of my favorite books was a book I read about 2 summers ago called Fierce Conversations by Susan Scott.
Fierce
And
conversations.
yeah, yep, it was recommended by a life coach of mine. And the reason why I think stands out to me is the book is all about how to maximize your conversations in whatever situation you're in. And the grand takeaway of this entire book is that we are sort of like our relationships are the sum of all the conversations that we end up having. Right. And so Susan Scott's main point, now you don't have to read the book anymore, is that the conversation is the relationship. And there's a reason why they're called conversations, because the word con, as you know in Spanish, means with. And so every conversation you have is with another individual. And if all you're doing is talking at someone and not listening to them, it's just a versation, right? And
Interesting.
so for members of, my community or whomever's, listening, I would say that the most important skill you have at any point in your career is the ability to listen and listen well. And so I think the other book that comes into play that's really, really good alongside Fierce Conversations is a book that I think you know as well, and it's one of your favorites, is the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz.
Oh, I read that actually, but it's been recommended to me.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite books because it's extremely simple. Four principles, extremely difficult to apply in your life on a daily basis, but when you do, you can probably be one of the happiest people you know.
Interesting. Well, we can describe that in the show notes, but I want to follow up with the fierce conversations. You
Sure.
said the main takeaway is just to listen and listen intently. So
Mhm.
next time I'm at a networking event, when I met a new person, how can I maximize that conversation? So I'm listening. Is there anything else that I should be aware of?
You should also be asking the right questions.
The
So
right questions.
the
Okay.
right questions, and you should show interest in who the other individual is. So when you're at a networking event, one of the things that I'd like to say for anyone who goes to a networking event is that the networking event is never about you. It's about the people you meet because you're there to add value, you're there to help people. And even if you're one of these new grads that says, "Hey, I have no job experience, I have no idea what I'm doing here with my life."
Hmm.
You're young, you have ideas, you have a wrinkle in yourself where you have a lot that you can learn about the job search, right? And you can learn a lot about uh, different industries. Like you go to networking events, and most of the time, right? You meet people who work in like finance. You meet people who have a knife to sell to you, a shake to sell to you. They have a startup that does IT work. And at the end of the day, it's really funny because a lot of us take these business cards. We take them home, we put them in around a rubber band, and we throw them, in some box, and we never see them again because we're like thinking, I'm never going to need an IT guy, or I don't really want to drink that person's shake.
Hmm.
But on the flip side, you also know that these people, everyone's trying to like go through life, right? You have that, what I think it was Socrates who said that, be kind to everyone you meet, for everyone is fighting a hard battle.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where everyone comes to fight their battles at networking events because they're there to find value, and as an individual, you're there as somebody who should deliver value. And if everyone gave everyone a little bit more of their value instead of trying to take, I think we'd all be better off because we'd leave our conversations feeling way more satisfied. We'd feel like we'd be awakened and we'd be helping people instead of just, taking their business cards, collecting them, and
Yeah.
them on LinkedIn and calling it a day.
Hmm. That is the essence. of my new book, shameless plug.
Nice,
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 but very cool.
nice.
Thanks for sharing that. Cool. Speaking of plugs, is there anything? We're just about to wrap up here. Is there anything you want to plug to our listeners right now?
Oh well, I mean, it's just if they wanna if you have any listeners who are looking for a job, I encourage them to come join Albert's Job Listings and Referrals. They can also join our email list at albertslist.org,
Mhm.
where we send out emails on a biweekly basis, where we basically recap everything that's going on in the community as well as events that we hold offline too. And for people who are interested in joining our community, they can go to bit.ly/ find your next job. That's our short link.
Awesome.
Bit.ly dash find your next job. And
And I'll put that in the show notes.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
Wow, so you even do a curated newsletter for the
Yeah.
people on emails.
And yeah, just to also add, our newsletter hit 500 people today.
Wow, congratulations.
So we hit 500 and we just go up every day, and I have no idea where half these people are coming from, but I'm glad they're getting this new resource.
Oh my gosh. I think you should even do like a email welcomes like, "Hey, welcome to Albert's Liz email. Just curious, how did you find us?" And then you can kind of see where the sources are coming from.
Definitely, definitely. Yep.
Cool. So before I ask my last question, is
Yes.
there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Well, I mean, I'd like to. I want to shout out to my community managers again, Michael Brigham, who's been there with me since I think year one, at the end of year one, when I decided, you know what, I think I wanted to. I think I need more people to come help me with this. So I brought him in, and then I'd like to also shout out to Dominic Finetti, Kelsey Pollock, and Aditi Ramesh, who have also been really, really great community managers as well. I'd also like to shout out to Mark Sackett, who I mentioned earlier. He's the founder of the Art of Active Networking and owner of the Box SF. And his networking events have really, really transformed the way that I network and think about networking and actually think about my career from a really creative and passionate perspective.
Mhm.
And then I'd like to shout out Anthony Lee and George Parrish, both whom I've also met through the Art of Active Networking, and both who have become fantastic mentors of mine in business and in the networking space.
Yeah, you know you're a superb networker when you shout out like 10 people.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
great.
And I'd
Um,
like to shout out you, Tam, for being such an inspiration.
oh, thank you, Albert. You have to send me those websites of those people so I can put in the show notes in case anyone else wants to see like their events or their bios. But cool. So my last and final question
Yes.
is, what is one parting piece of guidance that you would want to leave with the listeners? Like one piece of advice that, just one takeaway that they can just, go through the rest of the day knowing this one piece of advice. What is it?
I think it's to continuously move forward and whatever
Mm.
forward looks like, right? Because, I talk to people all the time in this jobs group who are struggling in their job search. And, they get one rejection after another, and they're wondering, where their life is going. And my advice to the person who's maybe struggling in their career, or even the person who's looking for their next job, or they're currently in a job and they are trying to figure out what the heck their purpose and mindset should be. The advice is still really just the same all the way through. It's the importance of moving forward. As long as you keep moving forward, whether it's doing a little bit of journaling every day, whether it's opening your LinkedIn network to one more recruiter, introducing yourself in my group, tagging a friend, or announcing your interest in a job that's been posted in the group, or
Mhm.
external to that. If you set the intention to move forward every day, you'll eventually get to whatever destination you're getting to.
Woo! Continuously moving forward. Wow, Albert, this is such a great conversation. I'm so glad to just have you on and share your wisdom. I learned so much just writing notes down and just listening to you. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me here again. I really appreciate it.
All right, Albert. I know we're gonna talk right after this conversation, most likely.
We're gonna continue networking. That's what
Yeah,
it's
we're just gonna continue talking. But thank you for coming on to the podcast. I'm sure the listeners really appreciate all of your advice. So thank
Yeah,
you.
And we've got a couple of hearts coming through here on Periscope too. So we love you as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome. How many listeners or people tuning in right now?
We have nine listeners. Some of them have asked questions. I have no idea how to look at them. And yeah, now, what was one of them saying? Yeah, they really enjoyed the conversation. One of them just reiterated the word forward. I'm like squinting into my phone here, looking
Forward.
at each of these. Forward,
Sweet.
yeah.
All right, Albert. I'll talk to you soon, man. Take care.
All right, thank you so much. Take care.
See you soon.
Yep. Bye.
Yo, I hope you enjoyed this episode with Albert Qian. You can go back and see all the show notes and resources at www.outsideoftheclassroom.com/Albert. Also, subscribe to the email list on the website to get notified of my new book, Networking Success for Young Professionals. How I went from becoming a nobody into becoming connected with so many different entrepreneurs, professionals, and even other students. And you can also learn all the tips and strategies I've used. So enter your email address at www.outsideoftheclassroom.com/networking. All right. That again is www.outsideoftheclassroom.com/networking. All right. So let's take care. Have a wonderful rest of your day and stay awesome.